Alright, welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. It's Brother Monroe here, and we are trying to destroy Italy. That's the plan anyway. We have nearly 1 million men, pretty much the entire army is deployed over here, to push on Rome. Not the easiest direction to push in Italy, but we'll give it a go. We've got 3 convoys to take care of. The Germans might enter the war against us. It's just Operation Amigos them a little bit. I don't really want to get into a war with Germany, seeing as we're about to share a land border. Well, we actually do up here, but it's probably what is pissing them off that I have Lithuania. But I'd rather avoid getting into a war with them right now. I'm not saying we can't get into a war with them in the future, but right this second, I'd rather concentrate on trying to eliminate Italy, which basically means doing a bunch of convoy battles until the army finishes them off. So they currently have 5 heavy cruisers, 4 lights, 13 destroyers. They're building 30 ships. Goodness knows how. Oh, actually, no, they've got loads of money in reserve, but their yearly budget is, yeah, pretty tiny compared to, well, not the Soviet Union, but pretty tiny compared to, I mean, ours. But it'll take them a while to burn through all these naval funds. And obviously, if we keep sinking all their ships, then they don't have a lot in the way of ongoing costs. So that's how they're able to just keep pumping ships out. Yeah, if we can trigger a couple of revolutions, that will really tank their economy. Their army logistics is in the toilet, and yeah, we can just keep knocking them down. So we got the Zara, one of these polar class. These are not bad ships, actually. So, not necessarily an auto win for us. They don't. The big problem with them is they don't have a lot of armor. Now, it's hard for me to work on the improvements I want to make to the mod when updates are so frequent. But I have something I can try and get the AI to be a little bit more inclined to use armor. I've already done a few things. So one of them is the maximum speed of ships has been lowered. That's the global value. For each class has been lowered slightly, just to stop the AI insisting on trying to max out the speed slider, because ships can get stupidly heavy if you do that. And then they don't have any displacement for anything else. And what was the other thing? I fiddled around with the auto resolver, but that doesn't seem to have done anything, like making armor more important for the auto resolver, but again, doesn't seem to factor in to the AI's thinking. But there's 2 things I can try. There is apparently a depreciated armor hints system. I'm wondering if it's really inactive or whether it'll still do something. So I'll try that. I can modify ship types to give the AI builder a hint as to how much armor it should be using. I could potentially also make armor more expensive The only reason I'm slightly hesitant to do that is that it will drive up the cost of capital ships, and I think they're already expensive enough. And the reasoning behind that is that I think the AI kind of values the cost of things quite a lot. So if armor is super cheap, then it's like, well, that's obviously not important. Again, this is more of a hunch than anything, because you know, I kind of have to work things out by myself. But the exact opposite of that could be true. It could be a much more normal logic, where expensive things are bad, and you know, you don't want to spend lots of money. But I don't actually know how the AI approaches that. At any rate, my sagas to get the AI to put armor on its ships continue. Should be able to blast through the transports very quickly, which they appear to have just kind of left behind. No, don't fire your torps at the... Don't fire at the transports. Thank you. Vigilante took a hit there. I'll go back to it. Sorry, not Vigilante. The Godel Hodget. Smoke. Pull back. Next ship. Coming off, follow. Ah, that's because the Zara has appeared. All ships. Target the Zara, please. And the reason I was talking about armour is because these heavy cruisers, their weakness is that they don't have much in the way of armour. Less than our light cruisers. Yeah, I think she's avoided them. See, how is that a safe shot? Right as the Zara is doing a big manoeuvre, it's like, oh, yeah, that's a perfect time to fire torpedoes. Jesus, there's another thing I need to work on. Torpedo accuracy is a stat in the game. I think it could use a bit of work. But look at this. Look, the 5 inches firing HE are getting pens here and there. See, look at that. Destroy the secondary tower. Destroy the torpedo launcher. More hits on the torpedo launchers. Yeah, causing lots of damage on that ship. Alright, here's the next one with torps. Converse, just fired them. Again, when the ship is in the middle of a turn. How are you expecting that to hit? And also, why is that a safe torpedo fire mode shot? Surely that's like an aggressive one. Right, Cortez, that is actually a safe shot. Relatively speaking, it'll still miss, but oh, they've sunk anyway. Lovely. Well, as the washing machine starts to power up, I will remind you that I'm currently trying to find a door so that it's not quite as loud for me in here. Isolate some of that sound out. If you want to help, you already have. You've watched the video. Thank you very much. But if you want to help more, there's becoming a channel member, so you get early access to videos. I'm not chasing down that destroyer. Oh, there's a light cruiser. Okay. Well, I'm not chasing it. You can become a Patreon, or you can just send me money using a Ko-fi link down the bottom, using what is it, Super Thanks, and various other YouTubey things. Right, back to the map. All right, next convoy should be no problem at all. Yeah, Italy. Again, what does Italy do here? What would you do if you're in this situation? If multiplayer campaigns were a thing, and you were dropped into this shit show for Italy, what would you do? How would you respond to the Spanish fleet that is sinking your stuff left, right, and centre? I think, given what was happening, if I took over, I think that my main problem was convoy protection, because that's most of the missions that are getting generated. The Spanish light cruisers, Spanish destroyers, causing all sorts of problems, and I think they actually did deploy the correct counter in a heavy cruiser. But they've just... I would build the heavy cruiser so that the 6-inch guns on the Spanish ships could not hurt me. So, yeah, at least 4-inch on the belt, which, to be fair, those Spanish ships, those Italian ships, sorry, do. But I would have 1.5-inch extended, which is not a lot. It's basically splinter-proof plate. You can't be floating about with like less than 1/2 inch on any bit of the ship, basically. Make sure that they can't be just taken out with a high explosive shell from a 6-inch gun. Against the destroyers, see, if you went for a 1.5, then the DDs wouldn't be able to hurt this theoretical heavy cruiser at all, really, except with their torpedoes. And I think that's a pretty powerful ability to have. The ability to have confidence going into combat that the enemy probably can't hurt you with their guns, or at least we are talking about the tier below here. We're not talking about going up against a peer. But it's mostly the light cruisers and destroyers that are getting all the battles and doing all the work at the moment. So yeah, I think a heavy cruiser is the correct counter, but single 10-inch guns as well. Not the correct choice of weapon. I would even consider... Italy has some fantastic hulls for their cruisers. And some of them really suit just putting a load of 6-inch guns on them. Deploying your own 6-inch guns would allow you to clean up destroyers pretty easily. There we go. Or, yeah, an 8-inch gun, which would cause my light cruisers a lot of problems as well. I think 6 or 8s or 7s or 9s or whatever would be a good choice. I think trying to go 10 or 11s is... No. I think that's too big. Yeah, well, maybe 10s, actually. But 11s are definitely too big. And single 10s are definitely not enough. Right, let's load up that last convoy. Alright, it's the Raina Christina. She's found the Etna. And 4 transports. And this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, we're at that stage of the war where Italy doesn't have a big capital fleet. They can't really contest whatever the main fleet is doing, but they could influence these battles. But yeah, let me know in the comments what would you do? What would you do? Would you go for a big? Would you go big? Get battle cruisers out? Would you kind of spam up hundreds of cheap destroyers filled with torpedoes just for as much presence as possible? Italy on a very sticky wicket. Right. Here we're going in. Thank you, by the way, to everyone who was like, "Oh, hope you feel better soon." I haven't felt well in years, thanks to long COVID. But yeah, particularly bad at the moment. But I am doing my best. Doing my best, and I like making videos, so I would make more if I had the energy to do it. I would stream more if I had the energy to do it. The limit is not on my time, really, or even or my desire, but very much on just, yeah, if I feel crap, it's not, just can't, which is rubbish. Right, you must be the escort. Zipping all over the place. They did get a hit, but it ricocheted. And then we get a pretty sizable flooding hit, which will slow them down a lot. Oh, you've undone my manual fire order, have you? Speaking of fire orders, that's probably the biggest thing that's stopping me from playing the multiplayer mode at the moment, because you cannot assign manual fire orders. It's not really. I mean, that's such a core part of the game, especially with the dodgy AI targeting at the moment, which I have made a suggestion about. The way the AI currently assigns targets is dumb. It's like, oh well, theoretically your shells can destroy that ship the fastest, so you should target that one, but that one's 60 kilometers away and a destroyer doing 40 knots under a smokescreen. Ah, irrelevant. Okay, fire control officer, I think you've had a little bit too much rum. Yeah, so I said, hey, just change it. It's not smart, it's not elegant, it's not sophisticated, but the closest enemy ship is usually not a bad choice. Right, I'm going to head back to the map and end the turn. Alright, the following month, the Velasco gets to stretch its legs. I've not been convinced by these Encoronadas. I was also thinking, while the turn was ending, if the ideal counter to me currently is more heavy cruisers for the Italians, maybe I need to preempt that and get some of my own built. Because whilst we do have a fair few, we don't have that many. We don't. See, the thing is, I don't have any new hulls. And new hulls is what drives me to build these ships. Because the begonias, I think, are pretty solid ships, personally. Follow. I don't know. I don't know. I might have a look at hulls again. Yes, unfortunately Spain doesn't have a great selection of cruiser hulls, despite the fact that I would argue that Spain probably should, because certainly in this era a historical Spain probably wouldn't be looking at anything bigger than a heavy cruiser. Yep, they sailed straight at me, taking a lot of damage. Let's loop around. Oh, we got a torpedo hit in. Amazing. I'll check the post-battle screen to see who did that. Destroyer is getting absolutely shredded, leaving just one ship left. I was going to say one light cruiser and one destroyer left. The light cruiser just evaporates. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This kind of battle and the kind of low-level convoy defences. Italy is getting wrecked in those. Absolutely wrecked. Alright, looks like the fleet has bumped into some very unfortunate ships. I'm not going to bother showing this battle, I'll just come back with the result, because this is just going to be me exploding them. Yep, took a little bit of light damage on the Triunfo, but yeah, that was not an interesting battle to show. 11 transports, yikes. I mean, they are sinking my transports here and there. Somehow, that's a particularly bad month. I am keeping an eye on it. But, yeah, if you see their VP is trickling up, but, yeah, it's not exactly great. How's this going? 8%. Wow, the Brits are helping. Okay, that should go through then. Very exciting. Right, more light cruisers. Okay. But the problem I have is that at this stage, finding the Italians, it's still fine. It's not boring or anything, but it's not great content, because you've seen my light cruisers taking out their light cruisers, destroyers, and heavy cruisers, and sinking all their transports quite a lot by this point. So I think I might switch content creation mode from showing every single battle to just giving you the updates and basically skipping fights that are not particularly interesting. I know that messes up a certain person and trying to keep accurate records. But I can take a screenshot of the battle results and pop them up on screen. But there goes another light cruiser. Yeah, at this stage, I think it would actually be... See, in the vanilla game, what would happen here is Italy would have collapsed, right? And their fleet would have disappeared. But because I've, well, not quite turned that off in the mod, but it is super difficult to get countries to actually collapse, which I think is more realistic. Yeah, basically, I'm waiting for this push to finish. So I think I will switch to doing it like that. And apologies for not showing everything, but the battles are very samey. There's nothing much for me to talk about in them. But if there's an interesting battle, or when there's some new things to talk about, I will be back. I had an idea. There's a better way of doing it. Time-lapsing all these battles, so enjoy. What? Fucking hell! Oh, it is not my day. It is not my day at all. I just pressed stop record. Or at least I thought I had. And it goes, oh, you've started recording. So I'm going to have to figure out what the hell just happened. Maybe this is redundant. Maybe you heard the design process for this ship. Maybe you didn't. Oh, God. Damn it. I'm not building it again from scratch. Okay, and I did it before that stupid washing machine started. So this is the Republica class. Okay, it is the same hull as the Begonias were built on, the modern heavy cruiser 1, because the modern heavy cruiser 2 is enormously fat. The towers, it has British towers, but you only get 2 funnel options for it, and they don't fit in the funnel slots. So it is a stupid hull that I hate. So, I'm starting to hate this shit. It's cursed shit. Maybe I shouldn't build it. Anyway, they're 14,500 tons, 30 knots, standard range, maximum bulkheads. The beam I ended up reducing right at the end to get the engine efficiency to 100%. They're running on all 3. They're using gas turbine. This was it was giving me the most engine efficiency. So I was trying to push these things to 30 knots so that they could keep up with the Begonias, or operate together. All the usual mod cons. Gen 2 radar, which is a brand new thing in the fleet. And this thing has 9.2 inch 50 caliber guns, which I think will be a nice little addition to the fleet. An upgrade in firepower over the Begonias. They are basically a copy of the Begonia, but with bigger guns. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Wow, they've got a much bigger crew requirement. They are twice as expensive. Just through their sheer size. But also the fact that these are, for a heavy cruiser, this is very heavily protected. 9-inch main belt with full layers. That is quite a lot of armour, more than the AI typically puts on its battleships. Anyway, I'm going to end the episode here because I need to go slam my head into a wall, and I'll see you again soon for some more Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Bye for now.